What's going on, guys? Sam back with Scale Labs RC here. Tonight we have another episode 4, with none other than the man, Zach Goken. What's up, Zach?
Hello, everybody.
How are you tonight, man?
Oh, I'm good. Just here on a nice winter's night. Got a little bit of a warm up coming from this January into February freeze we've been having. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, I can't wait to get to some warmer weather and get outside and start racing. So I'm sure you guys are too. Yeah. So, well, I mean, we'll dive right in, man. I know we have so much to talk about, and you know, some of the key things that I know we're going to hit on. We're going to talk about the Rumble and how that came about, and I want to pick your brain on where that came from, and then all of your, you're a very accomplished driver in your own right, Team GFRP driver, and you're also have started a hobby shop, and that's where you're sitting right now. Everybody can see kind of behind you.
mhm.
So want to dive into all that, and then yeah. So before we do that, though, some people that may not know you or who Zach Goken is, tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's go from there.
Okay. Well, believe it or not, I'm actually 30 years old. I may not look like it, but I am. um, I'll just go into I guess, my racing career, so to speak. So my dad's been a part of racing his whole life. He had ran a professional motorcycle racing team for probably about 25, 30 years. Yeah, he raced himself, but he built bikes out in this garage that were championship winning bikes. Him and my uncle raced Hornets. They bought a late model. I mean, he's kind of dabbled around in a lot of different things in his life. When I was a kid, my dad raced RC cars at a local off-road track, like probably like 20 minutes away from here. I would go with him to the track. I'd hang out. I thought they were the coolest thing ever. I'd always beg her to run a car and all that stuff. And I remember the first night, I was like maybe 7 or 8 year old kid. He had like a stadium truck. I was begging, like, man, when can I drive this thing? When can I drive this thing? And I remember it was like a blue car, just a blue stadium truck. And he's like, all right, you can drive it after the races. The races are over, and people were just like packing their stuff up, and racing or in the practice and whatnot. And he's like, all right, whatever you do, don't hold it wide open. Guess what I did? First thing, just right
Ripped it.
into the friggin' wall. Yep. And he's like, all right, you're done. And I'm like, what? I was so mad. I was like, I cannot wait all day just to run this car. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And my dad remodeled the house, and he put a 3-stall garage in, and he got some like cheap carpet from Menards. We just put it down in the garage. And my dad never got rid of any of his RC stuff. He had like an old Losi buggy, an old Associated truck. And I remember, like, this is when the Losi Sprint came out, like the old one. I'm not talking about the new one, like the old one from like 15 years ago or whatever. He bought one of those. We set up a little course. My uncle, myself, we would go out there and just run laps, have a good time. I was like 13 years old. Well, he got looking online. I don't even know. This is back in the day. If anybody that's been racing dirt oval for a while, they would remember this. Dirtoval.com used to be a thing back then, and it was kind of like their list of rules we had to run. And but there was a list of tracks, and there was this track called Allen's RC that was down in Rochester, Illinois. Great track, great facility, had a great hobby shop, legendary name, Allen and Barb, great place to go. But they had a carpet track inside there. So my dad and I made the trip down there one day, and we started talking to Alan. Brought us in, great guy. And basically, they took the low C mini late models and they ran them around the carpet track. Well, my dad had some mini late model, like a mini T. But he basically converted over because it was the same thing. So that's where I got my start at in RC racing. Was running those little suckers on the carpet, and everybody ran the same car. There was just 3 different classes. There was like novice, sportsman, and expert. And that's where I met a lot of people down there, like Kevin Kleiber, Gary Brandon, Doug Canham, Alex Fanning, his dad, Jim McGuire. The list goes on. There's lots of guys that I met down there when I raced. So
Rick Putnam was a regular down there, if I remember correctly.
Rick, he was, but when I was Rick didn't start racing until about the time I got out of dirt oval. So I'll get in. I'll dive into my dirt oval career here real quick. So my first ever dirt oval race was like in 2010, and that was it sounds like a long time ago because it is. Jeez, 16 years ago. Anyway, it was at Leisure Hours. Leisure Hours had a hobby shop and a racetrack, but it was really cool. It's not there anymore, but they had typically an off road track. But what they did is they bulldozed the off road and they put this big, massive oval in there. I mean, it was huge. If anybody had ever raced at like Cedar Bluff or Big Bills, it was like that size, but it was big like Talladega. I mean, it was crazy.
Heck yeah.
And it was high bite. I mean, it was high bite. I remember Dustin was there. I had no idea who this guy even was. And he was like, "Man, why are we running something this high grip with these cars?" This was like back in the day we ran like open cell foams and there was no rear adjustment for toe. And I didn't know any different. I'm like, all right, I'm just running a 13.5 late model around the track. This is fun because I was used to running carpet. And when I was running this high bite stuff, I'm like, oh, this is easy. I was all scared to run dirt. I'm like, this is just hammer down, right? It's the same thing. Well, I remember there was, I don't know, I think I got like third in the B main and I was happy about that. There's probably like 20 something cars. I was ecstatic. My dad made the show, got third in A. Well, summer season rolls around. We go down to Allen's and we sucked. I'm not going to lie. We were terrible. The tires we had to run at the time were really, really hard actually to get to work outside because we had to run custom work street track tires. And we had to run, people would laugh at this when I say this, but we had to run a 3200 milliamp battery, which was 30C. And then we also had to run a Novak motor and speed control. It was totally spec. All dirtoval.com basically controlled all the rules. The only people that could really get their cars to hook up in the late model class were Chris Sherburne and Jay Landell. Everybody else was spinning tires pretty much that day. So my dad and I kind of got sick and tired of running cars that like to spin out every other lap. And we didn't know anything about setup. Not at all. None. So there would be
Now, let me cut you off real quick. Is this
okay.
so with Jay Landau, is this pre AFX days?
Yes, this is going back to
Okay.
Murph. He might have been GFRP at the time. So, quick tidbit about Jay that I remember: Jay ran GFRP cars. Then he helped Matt Murphy with the Murph Dog cars, and the Murph Dog cars were like kind of an in between a GFRP and a custom works car. And Jay helped a lot with building the Murph Dog cars, and he was really fast with those cars. He was fun to watch. I remember him putting a set of slicks on at Smack Track back in the day, and was like past Sherburne on the outside. People were like, "Holy cow, we did that!" It was cool. Um. Anyway, we found a track that was actually closer to home, and they ran 8 scale 4-wheel drive late models. This was at Big Bill's legendary track. Big Bill's, man, that place was fun too. It was really big, high banked. So my dad for my 8th grade graduation bought me a brand new low C race roller. Came with a 350 motor, nitro 8 scale, and we pretty much raced down there for the majority of the season and had a blast. I did pretty well. I remember old Big Bill came up to me one time and he's like, "Man, you're driving that pretty good for a young kid there. You know, this is a big fast car." I had no idea, but see, I was used to driving a car. It's locked down. It's 4-wheel drive, so I could pin the car. I didn't know any different, you know. So it didn't. I mean, when it came to the big races, I wasn't that competitive because the car was tight. But hey, I could drive it. So that's kind of where I was at with Oval for a while. And then you kind of hit an age, and I think this happens to a lot of people. I had a conversation with Kevin Turk about this, where you get about 17, 18, and RC cars aren't as important anymore. You know, you're focusing on life and girls and all this. You're doing teenage stuff. And I kind of took a break from it from a while. So yeah, my days of going to Big Bills. I also did foam tire racing a little bit in that era. I did. There's actually a track in Pekin for a little while, which is pretty close to me. And then I went to Go Fast one time. Got humbled very, very hard there. Let me tell you, I think I don't know if I made it out of the Z main or whatever it was back then. and that was at the old Go Fast. I mean, that track was a boring. It was itty bitty back in the day. But we go up to Limestone and race quite a bit, and Limestone was fun. I was pretty good at 13.5 late model up there in foam. My dad was pretty fast in foam sprint up there, so that was fun. But yeah, we just kind of just got out of racing for a while. I did some off road in between that time when I was in high school, racing down at RJD in Lincoln or Pekin when they had their track, and those were good times. I know we were talking about that last week, Sam, about racing
Mhm.
down at RJD's back in the day.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, no, RJD was awesome. That the whole family down there is great. And
Mhm.
when I raced down there, Michael Page, he was a
Oh
big
yeah.
team associated
Mhm.
guy at the time, so
Mhm.
it was a humbling deal to get to watch him run. And then CJ Bosecker's down there all the time. He's
Yep.
ungodly.
CJ's fast.
How
He's
he's
fast.
not a team guy for somebody, I'll never understand. I don't think he
Yeah.
wants to be.
He may not be. I mean, I'll say this. I mean, yeah, I'm sponsored by Team GFRP, and the list goes on. But I'll be honest. Yeah, it's great. I appreciate all the help and everything I've been able to do and get. But it doesn't mean that I'm better than anybody else. It doesn't mean I'm God or anything like that. It's you're still human at the end of the day, and I don't know. Take it as an accomplishment, I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, there was, so I really enjoy, and that was to your point. You're exactly right. Like RJD was big for me from like 15 to probably 17, 18. And then you get to where, okay, it's time to get out of high school. We're going to college. And that was, and then I just stopped racing altogether for a while, and then didn't pick up the hobby again until I moved over here to Indiana after college. And, you know, there was nothing over here really other than the oval side of stuff. So had to come here to
Yeah.
do that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, actually, it's funny you bring up RJD. I went racing down there last weekend. I'm actually thinking about going again. I had so much fun down there. I haven't raced an off-road car in like would have been like 7 years, and I bought a two-wheel drive buggy off of Dennis Martinez like 2 years, and it sat in the basement. I never even touched it, and I just threw some electronics in and went racing. I'm like, I can do this. This is fun. I enjoy it.
There is a vibe about RJD that
I know.
there's not that many other places. I don't know what it is. It's just the track is homey. Everybody's on top of one another. You go
Hmm.
through the having the pit area completely isolated from the track, and then the track's out in the barn side of it, and then you have concrete pits on the other side of the door. It's just everything about RJD is cool. I miss it a lot, and B who runs everything down there, she's great.
Daryl. Yep.
Daryl, I mean, everybody there is great, and they've never met a stranger. I don't think any of those folks.
Mm.
So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, they welcomed me
RJD is
back
great.
in.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. So, but yeah, so yeah, keep going. I know I kind of cut you off and got you on a tangent, but
Oh, you're good.
you were at Allen's with Jay Landolt and all those guys, and
Yeah, I would race against Jay and Chris and all them guys that were on top of there. They were the guys to beat back in the day. I remember down at Bill's, like in sprint car, Eugene Ryder was like, I don't know if I ever saw that guy lose a race for a couple of years in sprint. Like that dude was on top of it. Like he was really fast down there. Kevin was really fast down there.
both of those guys are still fast today.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, and I shout out to Eugene. Before I had my license, my dad would have to work weekends, and Eugene only lived about 15 minutes from me. And he'd pick me up on the way to go down there, and he would have a just all set up for me. Take me down there. I get to race my cars, and because he announced the races down there and help water the track, and he just kind of took me underneath his wing.
It's cool.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Shout out Eugene. That's cool.
Hmm.
So let's just roll right into it then, and then we'll kind of move our way back. But talking about Eugene was a big part of your guys' race that you and the
Yeah.
Dolbert family and everybody
Mhm.
held. You held the prelude to the Rumble during kind of the around Thanksgiving time, and
Yeah, the
then
blizzard of 2025.
yeah, yep, and then you guys had the big Rumble was the
Mhm.
first weekend of the new year. So
Mhm.
um, you guys, so the Goken family, the Dolbert family. I know Eugene was there, and there were several other people that helped you guys out. But
Oh, yeah.
let's talk about that because what in the hell were you thinking? You guys, I mean, you guys took a big bite and
Mhm.
you guys absolutely chewed it all, and it was a fantastic event. You guys were dealt several bad hands, I feel like, and you guys
Oh yeah.
handled it. You guys handled it with complete class and made it look easy. So, tell us about that, and tell us about the race and how it started and how you got the idea and all that. Give us the whole story.
Well, okay, so here's how it goes. Obviously, the Four Rocks Arena, if nobody's ever been there, it's a unique place. It's cool. I wish, kind of offhand here, I wish I could go to the event and race it and see what it's all like for myself. Because just kind of walking around the pits, I'm like, this is kind of cool. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think it is. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I think it's a cool event. Um, but
To preface before you go on, the Four Rocks event or Four Rocks Arena is in Delavan, Illinois, right off of the side of Interstate 55, I believe.
155, yeah, it's
155.
basically the same thing.
It's basically the only thing on the side of this really great, really nice 4-lane interstate, and it's the only thing out there basically.
Yeah, there's
And it's
nothing in between Morton and Lincoln, pretty
Yep.
much.
So and it's a I've always told everybody going from Morton, Illinois to Lincoln, Illinois, it's a 4-hour trip that takes 15 minutes. It's the wildest, or 45 minutes or whatever it is. But so
Yeah, I
anyway,
know.
Four Rocks Arena, it's a typically it's a an equestrian center where they do barrel racing for horses and things like that. And I know they've kind of dabbled into doing go-karts now.
Yep, and
And,
that's where I'm gonna kind of lead into this.
yep.
So, it would have been, I think, sometime this April. Uh, I want to say it was my dad or Paul or somebody. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was my dad. It was like, "Hey, they're running go karts over at Four Rocks Arena. You want to go?" And he's like, he just kind of threw it out there. He's like, "I bet we could do an RC car race there." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "I don't really know if I want to do this. Like, honestly, because this is gonna be like, I just knew in the back of my head, I'm like, this is gonna be a lot of work, dude." And I'm not opposed to not working, but I'm just like, I know this is gonna take a lot. Anyway, we go over there and we're like, all right. And I remember Cole and Dan and Eugene and myself and my dad were all there. And Cole's like, man, I brought my sprint car with me. I'm gonna talk to the owner to see if I can run this sprint car on the track. And I'm like, see if it'll even work. Well, guess what? It did. And funny enough, Cole's sprint car that day turned a faster lap than like the Outlaw freaking go kart did. It
That's
was,
awesome.
it was ridiculous. There was like a crowd of people watching this sprint car go around the track and feel like, oh my god, this is cool. So we talked to the owner and he's like, kind of explained this is what we're gonna do, and we got some dates selected. And I remember, I think we talked. I want to say we talked about how with the size of the track, this and that. We took measurements of Cedar Bluff and Farmer City and kind of threw them together. And it's me personally, like that size of track of Four Rocks is a great size of track. It's a nice little intermediate, kind of bordering towards a bigger track. The second go around for sure, I think that track was really good. It had a nice bank on it. It was just really good. I really liked how that track was put together. But yeah, this would have been like the start of outdoor season last year. We're like, yeah, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna give most of the credits to my dad here for he did a lot of the behind the scenes work. So a lot of people don't really understand sometimes when you're putting on a race or you're putting on an event or anything like that. There is a lot of behind the scenes work that racers do not see. For example, getting the sponsors together, getting the banners together, um the driver stand, what equipment do we need to bring, extension cords, I mean the lighting, the heat, I mean the list goes on for that place. Like there's so much. And not to say that it's not hard to do a race here at Cedar Bluff. I know what to do now. It's a lot easier, but it's basically you got to build the track in like 2 days, and then there you go. That's your window. It's not an easy event. I'm not asking for a pat on my back or Cole's or my dad's or whoever's helped with this event. I'm not saying that. But between the three of us, I think we've put a pretty good show on. But I will say the first time we did that race, um, in a weird way, I know this sounds strange, but personal thing of my life. In late October, I got laid off from my job. They laid off like 5% of the company. Luckily enough, I had ample time, and Cole had time off as well. Were able to put my dad, and he's retired, so we had time to actually build a track and do all these kinds of things. It's hard because the dirt was an unknown. We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. Being able to heat that building costs a lot of money. We didn't realize that the overhead heaters didn't really put out a lot of heat. So my dad had to call this guy up and get frost fighters in there and heat the building up to 60 some degrees. This, that, and the other. There's so many elements. The second race went probably 10 times smoother than the first race because we knew what
100%.
we needed to do. And honestly, we only had a day and a half to build the second race. The first race we had like a whole week. And yeah, I don't know. There was just so many things we were fighting at that time. Like the owner, because we told the owner, hey, water the track for like 3 days in a row. That was a bad idea. It was like trying to work concrete. It was terrible, dude. So we told him the next time, don't water at all. Made it so much easier. And I think that's part of the reason like a lot of people are saying, man, I'm wearing a lot of tires out. I think that's because the dirt was so damn hard. We weren't able to really penetrate the dirt and to make it a little bit better, I guess, of a surface for everybody. But it is what it is. But no, we just kind of I don't know, we just kind of had a vision overall for the event. And there was an event going on in Missouri. It was called the I-44 shootout or something like that. That was an event going on. And Sam, I think we talked about this. I don't really know if I want that. Like the Chili Bowl is a really big race and it's great. And if people want to go out there and enjoy that, that's great. I've been to the Chili Bowl twice. It's a really, really like it's a long week. You're out there for a week. I'm cool with having a race that's like a 2-day event. Like that's fine. Like 2 to 3 days max for an event. Me personally, as not only a race promoter, director, whatever you want to call me, or if I'm a racer going somewhere. I love RC cars. It's kind of becoming my job now, which is fine. I really love RC cars. But I don't want to just spend a whole week out at a race and be on the track for 10 minutes every day. That's just me. And I'm not trying to throw shade at the Chili Bowl at all. The Chili Bowl is great. So I think every racer that runs dirt oval and they're serious in it should go out there at least once to experience it. I think it's a cool thing to go out to.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then, so I want everybody to know that's listening that may not know what you keep saying. Cole. Cole is cold over,
Yeah, cold over. Yep.
which is much like yourself. Anywhere in the Midwest, I mean, anywhere he goes, period. But he's a Midwest guy, just like all of us are.
Mm-hmm.
One of the like, if you go to a racetrack, you are going to have to beat Cold Over. You are going to have to beat Zach Goken. You are going to have like you guys are
Oh yeah,
unbelievably fast.
yeah. I mean, I've seen Cole grow a lot as a racer in the last probably 3 years. He went from being a pretty fast guy to I mean I've helped him out. He's helped me out here and there. Um, he switched over to GFRP cars, I want to say a year and a half ago, and his program's stout. There's no doubt about it. He's created a great identity for himself. We kind of work off of each other, and it's also kind of a little bit of a rivalry here and there. He'll be like, "Yeah, I can't wait to see myself on the stand with the King of the Wings trophy." And I'll be like, "Yeah, right. Maybe next year, pal." It's just things like that. It's just a little friendly rivalry, a little bit banter back and forth. But no, he's definitely a fast guy. No doubt about it.
Yep. And he was obviously a huge part in the Rumble and the founding of it.
Oh
So I
yeah,
wanted to make
no,
sure that
no,
he got
Cole.
his flowers just like you do. So
Yeah, no, for sure, no, Cole. I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Cole, but yeah, he's we've talked about rules and a lot of things like that. Like he reached out to sponsors and he got them. He helped a lot with maintaining the track and things like that. Ask people questions. I mean, we've all had a great hand in the and I can also say thanks to the Turex for helping out too, like Molly and Kevin and all that, helping out with the event. When you and Sam, you'll find this out when you're running a racetrack. I remember, I think I asked you, I'm like, hey, is there anybody else helping you besides yourself? And you're like, oh, I think maybe my wife and a neighbor guy. I think that's about what you said. I'm like, you might want a little more help than that. I mean, and it's just nice to have a guy like, for example, I mean, you can see it at PTs. You know, you got Paul, Dwayne, Tom. You know, that's three main guys. I think, Kevin kind of helps out a little bit here and there as well. It's nice to have at least three guys to be out there to water the track, call the races, do this, do that. It just takes a lot. It really does. You know,
Oh, no, absolutely. And it's we're working on that for sure, and we're navigating all that. And you know, I'm sure that once Raceway 39 does come up and when we get it all built and everything's ready to go, I'm sure that we're going to have so much. I mean, so many people have reached out and been so amazing already that I know for a fact we're going to have nothing short of plenty of help once we get everything going. So, very very fortunate and blessed in that regard. And yeah, so it's going to be great. It's we got some of the best guys in the country are right under our nose here in Indianapolis, and none of us have anywhere to race that's not a couple hours away. So
yeah, yeah. No, I that's actually kind of the reason why we put a track in. To be
yep,
honest, my dad and I.
yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Central Illinois there. Um, everything. I mean, a lot of tracks have popped up, obviously, since.
they have.
Yep,
I can go off on that tangent, about how that all came about.
yep,
So
yeah. So we're kind of we're getting through the Rumble here and all of that. Um, what is it? Try to help everybody understand what is it like from your perspective to take on that kind of undertaking of that size of an event. So if anybody who doesn't know, the prelude to the Rumble got hit with the literal most unfortunate circumstances you could ever have. How many? You
yeah,
guys had a pre-register of 200 cars or 200 entries,
275.
275,
Yeah, that
and there was a snowstorm that hit the day of the race that was
was like 8 inches of snow at least.
if not more. I mean, with snow drifts and
Yeah,
everything, it was way
it
worse
was
than that
terrible.
even.
I remember coming home that night and didn't have any power. Actually, I had to
Mhm.
stay with my parents that night,
Yeah.
so that was great. There was a
I know
literal
I almost
snow
died on
wall on
my
the
way home.
driveway.
I almost
Yeah,
died
I
on my way home. It was terrible. It was
really.
terrible. Oh yeah, it was
Oh my
bad.
gosh. That's why I know Dustin and Chad Jones and all like Murphy and a lot of other guys just like, I'm packing up, dude. I'm leaving. I'm like, I don't blame you.
I at least stayed and took my ass beaten and then left. But but no, so I mean it was supposed to be, obviously, and we don't have to get into specific numbers and I'm not asking you to, but it is obviously a significant financial undertaking before a single lap gets made. I mean, you guys are still heating the building, you're still renting the building itself, you're having to rent the equipment to put the track in. You've already got all of your time investment, let alone the financial investment. And you look out into the pit area and there's 50 people, 50,
Oh, I
60
know
people.
it was a loser. It's kind of disheartening. I'm not gonna lie about it. It sucked. It was definitely a hard pill to swallow. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, it's not good, but there's also a learning experience from it. Just because it didn't go the way you wanted it to go doesn't mean you should quit or be like throw your hands up. I'm done. I'm not ever doing this again. This sucks. You know, Everything happens for a reason, and I've talked with this, to other people, and I'm like, I'm kind of glad it worked out that way because it was easier control. So, for example, when I'm doing a race here at Cedar Bluff and I've got 65 cars, dude, I'm easy. I'm not stressed out at all. It's an easy night. But when I have 150 to 210 cars, I'm like, oh, it's just a lot different. It's like, you know, so I guess getting your feet wet, yeah, it was a loser financially and it was not good. But at the same time, it kind of worked out, I guess, well, in a sense, because the next one, I think we ended up with there was some people that left after the mains, but pretty much throughout all qualifying, I think we had like around 215 or so. It was something around 200. I can't remember exactly. But the point is there was a plentiful crowd, and honest to God, we're not doing this to make thousands and thousands of dollars. RC tracks, if you think you're going to put an RC track in and be a millionaire, you're wrong. Okay. I'm just
Somebody
going to
lied
say
to
that.
you.
Yeah. Somebody lied to you. You're in the wrong business. The reason why we're putting this event on is A, it's unique. You know, it's a unique event. It's fun. If you don't want to go to a race that's a week long, or go out and drive 10 hours of Motorama, or this or that and the other, hey, here's your chance to go to a pop up track. It's a new track for everybody. It's the same track for everybody. It's kind of a level playing field. Who can have the fastest car on a track that's like kind of a pop up random track, in its indoor events too. So there is a uniqueness in that. So I mean, we are doing it ultimately for the racers. That's when, that's just kind of who I am as a person. I try to do it for the racers.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, you hold a big ass race for the racers in Central Illinois, and a couple brothers from Canada come down and stomp everybody's ass.
I know
Shout out to the Salvases. They
they were
handed it. They
fast.
handed it to everybody. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, I think, and I think it's just what we had to deal with. But that track over there, that dirt over there, it's just higher bite. It just is, and there's nothing we can do about it. I know we tried. Just I don't know. We tried to run a couple cars on it. I think when the track was a little bit looser, like think like the first go around at the Thanksgiving race, and it was just not good at all. Like you couldn't even get on. Like, yeah, even like the 13.5 cars were just spinning out. It's like you can't race on that. That's just me as a race director, promoter, whatever. Like, I'm not saying we need to have like concrete we're racing on, but you get what I mean. It's just a higher bite event, and that's why GFRP and Custom Works and all these other manufacturers make higher bite cars. That's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I know, that was the first, that was a big race for me. And I know the typical crowd wasn't there or whatever, but there was still a lot of really fast guys there.
Oh
And
yeah,
I got
no.
to the fact that I got into the A main and late model of all things. I feel like sprint cars a way better class for me. And the fact that I was an idiot that got to make the A main, that still hasn't fully set in that I got to, make the A for that race. That was pretty cool. So, I
Oh,
mean,
that's
I loved
awesome.
every second of it.
Yeah, and I've had so many people when I go to PTs or just you know asking me, or I've had people messaging me like, "Hey, what's the next race?" It's like they're like, seems like general population really, really likes it. So I'm like, great. I'm glad. People are really excited about it. Like I know the Salvas brothers, they want to come back and race again, and we plan on continuing to do the races over at Four Rocks. So I mean, I don't see it's going to end. So and I enjoy doing it. Like the second race we did, I enjoyed it way more. I'm not gonna lie. The first one, it just seemed like we were trying to fight. Like I was trying to like um get out of a jail cell with like a plastic spoon is what it felt like for like the first 2 days, you know.
Right. Right.
But this time it was like easy pace. Luckily, we had a lot of help. Kudos to all those guys that helped. You know who you are. We had a lot of people who knew exactly what we are doing. It's just a much easier to do than what it was the first time.
Even down
And
to getting racers power. Like I know
yeah,
at the Prelude, it was kind of a pain in the butt and we were tripping breakers and all that and had no issues the
yeah.
second time.
The I don't know. I was told there's some guys running some heaters in their pits that I didn't know about. My dad caught wind of that, so that's drawing a lot of power there. It's just honestly like my dad and I have discussed this, and he's like, 'cause my dad was an electrician by trade, so he knows a lot about electricity and whatnot. But that building was never designed to run a bunch of RC car races. So it's just you're having to do with what you got, kind of thing. So it kind of it is what it is deal. But no, for the most part, it went really well.
Yeah. And I mean,
And
kind of the unsung heroes, I feel like, in the whole deal is your dad and Cole's dad, Dan Dolbert. I mean, every time you looked up, those two guys had a golf cart or a four wheeler or whatever, and were filling up diesel fuel in the what four or six
yeah,
salamanders that were heating the building.
yeah, I remember like it was a couple days before the event. My dad and I went to Casey's and just filled up a bunch of diesel because instead of renting salamanders, the owner of the facility had to, and they weren't working. So we picked them up. My dad fixed them, and then we went out and bought a couple. And it seemed like it heated the building a lot better than getting those two big ones. So I mean, yeah, the second time it was like riding a bike. It was really really easy. So. But yeah, no, it was kind of interesting watching some people that have never drove on high bike. I've talked to Joe Payne about this, and it was like the funniest thing. Traxxas Joe. I saw him pull a wheelie like all across the front stretch, and I'm like, "Whoa, he's hooked up." He's like, "Yeah, I've never run anything that high bike before." I'm like, "Yeah, it's definitely a grippy track." And it's like the Salvases. I think that's kind of why they're so fast on it, because they're paint car guys. They love that. They love that kind of surface, you know. So
Heck yeah. Well, yeah, no, I mean that's again, kudos to you guys, you and everybody else who was a part of it. It was great. It was awesome for me to be personally a part of, and I know that there was a lot of other people that really enjoyed it. So from me to you, thank you very much for you
I
guys
will
putting your
appreciate that.
necks out and your nuts out on the table, kind of, because I know it took a lot. So I
Oh, thank
appreciate it.
you. Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of the rumble, guys, for everybody who's listening, and I'm sure if anybody has any other questions about it, there'll be updates on when the next dates are once you guys lock those down and all that. So let's go back a little bit to your personal racing, because you are an incredibly accomplished racer. So instead of me going through the list here, let's hear them from you. Just give us some of your notables that, every race that you win, obviously you're proud of, but what's some of the ones that you're most proud of, and some of the races that you've knocked off the list that you've been able to achieve.
Okay. I would say my first big win. This is years back. This is back in like 2018. I want to say. So I keep bringing up RJD for this, but RJD used to have oval races. Back in the day. Slash B, they called it B mod slash modified. So real quick, I took a break from oval from like 2014 to like 2017, 2018. I can't quite remember. So I didn't race any dirt oval. I came back and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna chop in like a mod, late mod, or sprint car, dude. Like I haven't raced. Like I'm gonna go in a beginner class. Like that's what I should do. So I got like a slash mod, and I raced it for a summer, and I would make like A mains. Like I was competitive, I won maybe a club race or something like that in Allen's, but I wasn't like dominating necessarily. Well, I went down to RJD and I won by like, I don't know, I want to say a lap or something. And at their big race, and I was pumped, dude. I was so happy, and that was like a really big notable win. I remember doing that, and I'll never forget that feeling of like, man, I belong. I'm not some squid on the track. It sucks. Another really big win. That place has been good to me. I don't know what it is. A couple years later, when short course mod was at its peak, this is like, I feel like SC mod was really popular from about 2018 to about 2021. That's about the 21 is about the last year it died off.
Right.
But I was getting pretty darn good with SC mod. And I remember Alex and I, or no, that was the only race. I was it Alex TQ'd, and then he broke, and there were still some really fast cars down there, and I ended up winning that race. And I remember, I think Dustin messaged me. He's like, "Hey, congratulations on your win." And I remember he put like a thing up on the 5-7 Designs website, like Zach Goken tops RJD. I'm like, "Whoa, man! I guess I've made it. Like, this is cool." I was so pumped up. I was like, I don't know, my early 20s. I thought it was really cool. But and then that summer, I remember I raced up at Thunder Road. They had like an oval series, and Thunder Road was becoming a really hot track at that time. And I remember it was like me, Alex, Michael McGee, and Short Course Mod. We were just duking it out. Like it was like flip a coin. One of those three guys were gonna win, and it was really fun. I remember like. I mean, at the time, Alex Fanning was like the top guy to beat. If you could beat him, you were like something. And I remember I beat him straight up, and I was like, yes, like I finally did it. I got the monkey off the back. He wasn't broke this time. I beat him, and it was awesome. That was a really good win. I got a couple more up my sleeve here. 2022 was a good year for me. It's kind of I feel like that's when I really started to find my feet in 10 scale. I kind of shelved off the SC mod stuff by 2021. I really started focusing on uh the 10 scale stuff more so. But yeah, I remember I went out to 2020. I remember I went out to Motorama, made the show in SC Mod against a lot. There was Chad Jones, Dustin, Brian Zimmer, Cole Rhodes, Justin Draymire. I mean, I'm probably missing some guys here and there, but the list goes on. I mean, it was a stacked race. And I think I got third or fourth. So that was really cool. That was a really big accomplishment of mine. But fast forward a couple years, I started focusing on 10 skill stuff, and I would win some club races here and there, and run up front. But then I remember my first big 10 skill win was down at RJD. This is the last time they ran oval down there. And I remember it was in the A main, it was me, Mike Murphy, Alex, and I think like Michael McGee or something. And I remember Mike TQ'd. I remember like in the heat race, I kind of messed up because I run on IFMAR. But I just know I'm like, I've got a really good car. Like this thing feels really planted. And I remember in the main, I'll never forget this. Mike and I are going back and forth, and I'm going into turn one. He just misses the groove a little bit, doesn't spin out, but he just kind of lets the door open. I get underneath of him, and I get by him. And when I passed him, I heard people go, "Oh!" like freaking out because I don't know, like kudos. I mean, Mike, I have a lot of respect for him. He's a great racer. Been racing with him a long time. If you can beat Mike Murphy, you're really fast. I'm
You've
just
done
saying.
something. You beat Mike
You've
Murphy.
done something.
You've done something.
But I remember I passed him and like people were like losing their minds. Like I was like, oh my gosh. So like my heart's pumping. I'm like adrenaline's pumping. And I'm running my race. I'm like, just keep hitting your lines, Zach. Just keep hitting your lines. You're gonna be good. And he never passed me, but I mean it was like nose to tail for like 20 laps. I swear it was like that much. And I ended up beating him and he was like, dude, he had such a big smile on his face. Like, man, that was a fun race. Congratulations, you earned it. Just a really good clean race. But later that year, I kind of took a little bit of a racing hiatus that summer, it seemed like, and I hadn't raced like in a month. And the Elite Series was still going really hard and strong, and it was the last race of the series that year, and it was down at Slideways. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to this race. I haven't raced Slideways in like 3 years. I'm gonna go down there and have some fun. That's in Brownstown, Illinois, if anybody's wondering.
We've talked about that a lot on this podcast. I'm
What's that?
a big promoter of slideways.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
big slideways guy.
Well, I kind of like I, when I go down there, people still remember this time when I went down to Slideways. People are like, "Oh my gosh, Zach's here." I don't know. It was crazy. I didn't race for like a solid month, and they ran a Friday night practice and Saturday race. And I just told myself, "Hey, you're gonna prepare to this. You're gonna prepare for this race the best you can, and do whatever you can do to do the best you can." Because I know you haven't raced for a long time. Just go out there and run your best. I was not expecting to win. I wasn't expecting to do anything. And I told myself, hey, if I can go down there, because I hadn't raced probably at least a month and a half. If I can go down there Friday night, shake the rust off, I should be pretty competitive the next day. Well, I went out there in seating and just blew everybody away. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I continued to blow everybody away all day. And I'm like, holy cow, I have some really good cars. And I remember this was in the era of the T-Rex cars were really fast. And I remember Jeremy Riley, he won the point series. And Jeremy was a very competitive guy and he didn't like to get smoked. And he figured out some things on his cars and he was really fast. And I remember for the main, he got just as fast as I did. I mean, we were running like we were like 3/10 faster than everybody else. It was like crazy. Anyway, we were nose to tail for probably 20 laps. And he just didn't get as lucky as I did through traffic, and I ended up winning. I won late model and I won sprint that night, and that was huge. And everybody's just like, "Man, I need to take a month and a half off and come back." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so." But some other notable wins, I would say, last year was a really really big one for me. Here at Cedar Bluff, it was the Battle Bluff race. Um, Pretty much everybody and anybody was here. You had Murphy, Dremeyer, Cole, Nick, Tyler. It was a really big race. I TQ'd, I won that race. I led it from bell to bell. It was just a great race. And on top of that, it was a great feeling because I never won actually a big race here at Cedar Bluff being my own track. And I was announcing the races during that time too. So I didn't have any time to work on my cars. That car, I don't know what it was, but that sprint car that year was just lightning in a bottle. It was really, really good. That was my old 21 Sprint. I still have it. It's still really fast. I'm trying to work on my 26 a little bit more. That's actually look at the car I raced the last time I was at PT's. I would say my most recent notable win was probably at the World 100. that was a good one. I kind of feel like I was going through a little bit of a down, I don't know, downswing, so to speak. And I just kind of like got my act together a little bit more, and I don't know, I started second. I got around Tyler pretty early, like lap maybe number 5 or something like that. I just got around him and then kind of checked out. And then Jared caught up to me and was on me for 25 laps or better. And I just was patient. And I knew if I just hit my lines and made my car 10 foot wide every other 5 laps, I would be fine. And that's what I did. And Jake Howard gave me a lot of props after that, saying, "Hey, you not a lot of people can do that." And that was kind of like, okay, I'll take that.
Anybody who can keep Jared Howard behind them is a special human being for sure. Jared's another one of those guys. He's the
He's tough.
best. He's one of the best. So
Yeah, no, I wanted to win that race pretty bad, and I wasn't letting it go.
absolutely, and so that was the one that I was going to bring up. The big one there was that World 100 race. Out short of King of the Wings at PTs. I mean, I'd say that is the PTs race. Is kind of that World
Yeah,
100
that
event.
that World 100 is a late model race, but the sprint cars kind of stole the show that night.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, so we've got it. We've been talking for about 45 minutes here now. So to kind of close out before we get to our last questions that we ask all of the guests is we have to talk about Cedar Bluff. So you and your family's track at I believe you said it's at your parents' house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So the layout, if anybody doesn't know, you should look up Cedar Bluff. It's really cool. So it's like basically it looks like it's surrounded by a cornfield on 3 sides. So it's super cool, and it is like mega track. It is a big girl.
It's a big track, but it doesn't really drive like a big track. Like I know you haven't been here, Sam, but it looks like it's Talladega times two, but it's really not. Like it's very wide, it's very sweeping. It's got a little bit of progressive bank to it. Um, but yeah, it's don't get me wrong, it's a good sized track. You got to have some ponies underneath the car. Um, it's nothing too crazy, but no, it's a fun track. I really like it. This track, believe it or not, has been a like motocross track at one point. It's been a go kart track. I mean, it's just been a lot of different things here and there throughout the years. But basically, oh, you go back 7 years ago, 2019, there wasn't a whole lot of tracks around the central Illinois area. You had Thunder Road, Farmer City, and BB. So for say the Peoria area, there wasn't really a track. So my dad and I are like, man, and I even told him too. I'm like, I'm getting kind of tired of having to drive like an hour and a half to go race, and we wanted to put a racetrack in. And
Can't relate, Zach. Can't relate.
well, believe it or not, the outline, the outline of the track was already here, and we just kind of like brought it in a little bit, and we just kind of went from there. And we just had a vision, and we just kind of started building on top of it. We have, I don't know, in my opinion, created a great track. It definitely, we've learned a lot about how to run a race, what not to do, what to do. As a race promoter, director, track owner, whatever you want to call me, um, a lot of racers and I don't know, other people have their own opinion and they think it should be ran this way or done this way. And not saying they're wrong, right, or indifferent. It's good to take little tidbits of that and integrate it into your program or whatever it may be, or into your track, So um, it's been a lot of work putting in a track. There's no doubt about it. Um, but it's very rewarding at the end of the day. I really enjoy seeing people, you know, talking after the race and be like, "Man, I can't believe you got underneath me," and just smiling and having a great time. Like I genuinely love seeing people happy, and I think it's a great thing.
Sure. Sure. So what tell us more about the track. Obviously it came about kind of, you know, same way that, we're opening up our track over here kind of out of necessity. Like you really didn't have much in your area. So that's awesome, obviously. But outside of that, I mean, where does kind of the motivation or the idea come from? I mean, is it truly you don't want to, you're trying to mitigate that drive, or
I don't
what does
know.
that look like?
We wanted to just build a great facility and track for racers to come and enjoy. I don't know, when I was racing as a kid, everybody always talked about the vibe and the atmosphere when you went down to Allen's or Bill's, and how that was created. And my dad and I wanted to be able to create that atmosphere back. And we've had a lot of people say, man, like, man, you guys have really created a great atmosphere. There's just something about racing at Cedar Bluff that's just a really good time, and people have really enjoyed that, and it's just kind of maintaining and just having that atmosphere of like, man, this just feels kind of special, and that's not a discredit to any other track or any other track I've ever been to. That's just what we want to emulate. Is just that, and give some just. I always feel like I don't care what this is, if it's racing, life, track, whatever it may be, the work you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So if you put a lot of work into something, most of the time it's going to be really good. It's going to get what you want out of it. But if kind of half-ass it, so to speak, it's not going to be great. And I think that can be said about a lot of things. And I think for the most part, like I said, we've learned a lot of things along the way, but I think we've done a pretty good job. And if you look at entries and things like that, and for our big races, even club races, we've pulled a lot. I remember there was one night a couple years ago, we had 38 mod sprints on a club race.
Crazy.
For an outdoor track. That's pretty impressive, And
Absolutely.
I'm not here to pat myself on the back or toot my own horn, but that's just, feels good, you know. I guess higher car counts don't always lead to success, but if people are coming back and people are having fun and they like to race here, that's just kind of what it is. And I think we're in a great spot too for racers. So people always talk about PTs and how competitive it is. Trust me, I'm the first one to tell you how competitive it is. I've been in a lot of A mains, hell, I've been in C mains, and it's even competitive there. I know how it is. Um, but geographically, we're in a great spot, because there's a lot of guys up by the Quad Cities that are fast. There's a lot of guys over by Brad's that are fast, or down south that are fast. We're within like an hour to 2 hour radius of like, hey, when we got a big race, we kind of attract the fast ones. So it's nice that way. We've had guys from all over, Michigan, Wisconsin, Missouri, Florida, Arizona, New York, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee. I mean, the list go, Kansas. I mean, the list goes on. We've had a lot of racers from that have traveled Indiana. I mean, yeah, the list goes on.
Right. No, that's killer, man. And it is. I just to speak for me personally, like I don't think about Central Illinois summertime racing without thinking about Cedar Bluff. I mean, I know I haven't even been
Well,
there, and
I
I don't.
appreciate it.
And so there are some, there's some heavy hitters that race at your guys' track every time you have a race, and I mean, that kind of speaks to itself. I mean, you guys are in the hotbed, and you guys
Oh
are,
yeah.
yeah,
No, I mean, we're as the track owners around Central Illinois, Indiana, or even the Iowa guys are really fast. I mean, there's fast racers from all over. I don't care. You go to the Layton. I've never been up there. I'm going to Layton this year. I've heard a lot of great things about that. I've heard Raw is a great place. There's a lot of great tracks all over, the Midwest, so to speak. But it's awesome, and we're fortunate enough to have the quality of racers we do have, and I I don't know. I feel like it's kind of changed, and it's changed for the better, because I'm going to tell you something right now. When I first started racing, I feel like it was really, I don't know, because I was younger. Maybe my perception has changed at all. But when I started off racing, it was like a big deal to go up and talk to a fast guy and be like, hey, my car sucks. What do I do? You know, Now I feel like people are more, adept to be like, hey, my car is super tight. I don't know what to do. Or my car is really loose off the corner. I don't know what to do. People are going to help other people. And I feel like maybe 5, 6 years ago, you would see people that are all over the place and beating the crap out of their cars and this and that. I don't know if this is just me. I don't think I see that quite as much as what I used to. I mean, you've been racing for a while. What do you think? I don't know you just kind of came back into this, but what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember having to be so damn good to run a C main.
That too? So I guess that's what I'm getting at is that the racers themselves are a lot better.
Yes.
Because so the number one, the cars are a lot better. Let's be real. When I first started racing, the Custom Works Rocket was like fiberglass. I mean, the cars have came a long way. This tire has came a long way. Things have just gotten progressively better. So the cars we had then were not nearly as good as they are today. The tires aren't nearly as good as today. Batteries, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, even down to transmitters. I mean,
Yeah.
the technology that's in the remote that's in your hand to control those cars are silly. The amount of changes that you're able to make on the
Oh
fly,
yeah.
and but yeah, I mean, I think it is. When I first got into oval, unbeknownst to us, we were talking about this the other day. I mean, we had to have raced against each other at RJD with
I'm sure we
during
did.
the oval stuff, and I know that I felt like I had quote unquote good stuff when I was running SC mod with my SC5M that I literally put a modified body on, and that was it.
That's
I
what
mean,
that's what half the guys did. When I got into short course mod, I had a low C 3.0. Like the basically equivalent of the associated card. I'm like, yeah, I'm bringing a knife to a gunfight, dude.
right, right,
This isn't good. I need something
yeah.
better.
And I mean, to your point, what you were saying, a few questions ago now was like, when I got back into the hobby this time, I bought a Losi. I had a Losi's 22S Sprint that I was running and had a ball. Unfortunately, in our area, it's not a big class, so I got to where I was having to run 13.5 with it. So then I was getting to where I was getting really close, or even I think I made one or two A mains at
Really,
Raw
with a low
in
C22S?
13.5. I mean, I took.
That's
Don't
a
get me wrong. I
that's
had
impressive, dude.
I had quasi tires that I put
Yeah.
on them. I took the little figurine guy out. Like I lightened it as
Ah,
much as
come
I
on.
could have.
Oh, I know. It's funny. My dad, I don't know what it was kind of a crazy idea. He took his original Losi sprint. He's like, "We're gonna make this into a mod sprint." I'm like, "Okay, we'll try it." He got the carbon shot. I mean, he literally did like we even put adjuster arms on this thing. I drove it, and I'm like, "This thing's like half a second slower than my car." I'm like, it might make a 13.5 car would be okay, but I'm like,
Yeah.
this is not gonna be a mod sprint.
Dude, I had so much fun with that car, and I wish if it had a bigger following. And the big thing was, so I got to where I was basically anywhere I went, I was either first or second. I mean, I was a podium. Let's just say a podium guy anywhere I went. There towards the end of the
Yeah,
summer, going into the wintertime, and I got tired. Honestly, and shame on me for being influenced by other people, but I got tired of taking crap from everybody because it got to a point where when I sat it down, all these young kids that are coming into the class or coming into the hobby, it's me, all 6'5" of or 6'6" of me, standing next to these 9-year-olds, and
you were
it's like,
beating him by 3 laps.
and it's like, okay. uh, So I was getting crap from both ends, and then it was like, okay, I got to do something different. So by the end of the summer, I went and I bought a BL2 Traxxas Modified too. So I was running both of those, and the BL2 there was a bunch of just connection issues with the transmitter, and just kind of wasn't fun. And I just kept looking at all the mod guys, and I was like, I used to race mod sprint, and I was pretty decent at it. And so something that you and I I don't know, haven't had a chance to talk about. Alex Fanning and I were, whatever you want to say, we're good buddies for a long time. Alex lived with me.
I remember Alex. I never raced with you, but I remember like Alex would like work with you or did
Yep.
something,
Yep.
and
So
yeah,
Alex Fanning is an unbelievably intelligent guy and very, very talented in the manufacturing space. So he would actually drive up from Jacksonville on Monday morning, stay in my guest bedroom all week, and then him and I would work on my business together, and then he would drive back home to be with his family. So during the week, him and I didn't have anything to do. We were both single dudes at the time. So we would drive up to Infinity and I got so damn good so quick following Alex Fanning because he is
I
so good.
He is very good, and I have to agree with you. I used to run with Alex a lot. When I got back into Durable, he kind of took we kind of raced with each other a little bit down at Allen's and the Bills. We'd always kind of pit by each other for whatever, because we just knew each other, you know. But no, Alex, I will give credit where credit is due, and Alex took me underneath his wing, and for many years he taught me a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff I still remember. And we never had a falling out or bad blood or anything, but we just kind of, I don't know. I got to a point in my racing career, and I just kind of split off from him a little bit. I'm not saying that it's not like I don't need you anymore, but just progression and things like that. It's like a football team where this guy was an offensive coordinator and now he's a head coach. It's like no love lost, but he's kind of moved on to hey, he can fly on his own kind of thing.
Yep. No,
You know.
absolutely. And that's kind of the natural progression of this entire hobby, right? Like you find those guys and then you eventually get from where you're not the mentee anymore. You're just another racer
Mhm.
with those guys, and then you've just become buddies and all that. And I know I talk not frequently, not near as frequently as I would like, but I still talk to Alex from time to time and watch him dominate he's out on the West Coast now, so he's mopping everybody up out there now, and everybody gets to experience it there. And
Yeah,
but
no, congrats to him winning the Chili Bowl.
yep, absolutely,
Yep.
yep.
No.
But yeah, so that's just give him his flowers. I'm trying to get him on the podcast too, actually. So I think he'd be another great guy to talk to. If he's got a shell about him, so if we could get him out of his shell, I think
Yeah,
he'd
I'll
be
never
good.
forget. Oh boy, this is an interesting moment. Some racers may not remember this, but I'm sure some do. The ones that were there. King of the Wings. There used to be a driver intro, and you got to pick your own song. And there is a video of me somewhere. I did "Rock You Like a Hurricane" by the Scorpions, and I swear there's no alcohol, nothing involved. I was 100% sober. Not that I'm a big drinker. I was going nuts, man. I was on my hands and knees playing the air guitar, and I'm just losing my mind. Like I'm letting out. People are like their jaw about dropped 10 miles. Look like and it was just funny. Like I'm just running around. I mean, people are like, "Oh my god, this guy's going crazy!" And I remember, like, I think Alex was like, it started like one spot ahead of me, so he's like coming out. He's just kind of like walking all like, "Oh, well, I ain't gonna be able to top that guy." It was just funny. It was just funny. But yeah, I think Dustin took the video of the driver's intro, and he's just laughing so hard when I was coming out.
And
People were like, "Oh my gosh, you're going crazy, Zach."
and anybody who doesn't know, and like I said, hopefully Alex comes on the podcast and we can introduce him kind of to the world more than just his name, because I feel like Alex is one of those guys, much like you, Zach. Like people know the name, or people have heard the name or heard of Cedar Bluff or whatever, but they don't know the person. And that's what this podcast is all about, is getting to know the people and introduce the people to everybody else. But and so the funny thing, I guess what I'm trying to tie all this in is, you're out on your hands and knees to Scorpion and having a good time. Alex could not be, for those who don't know Alex Fanning, Alex could not be the literal opposite definition of that.
I would say I'm an extroverted person, whereas Alex is a introvert.
He's the definition of an introverted person. So,
He is introverted.
but yeah. So anyway, that's kind of that. But yeah, cool, man. We've been going on for about an hour, so I've got three questions left for you that I ask every guest, and then we'll get you out of here. So
Okay, sounds good.
actually four, because I have one more that I want to start asking guys. That you're going to be the first guy that we ask it to. So, your car number 9.
Okay,
Where
how
does
did I
that
get
come
it?
from? Where does that come from? Why number 9?
Okay, so it's kind of a lame story. I'm not gonna lie.
No such thing.
So when I got back into dirt oil back in like I don't know, 18 or whatever it was, the track at Allen's, I forgot about this, bought a used Custom Works rocket off of Dan Mickle, and didn't have a body. And we had a bunch of old stickers and things like that in a sticker box, because everybody has a million stickers because they were racing for a while. So, I painted it silver, blue, and orange. That's, to be gosh, it was funny. I was looking at that car like a week ago. I don't even know why. I was like, just looking at old photos on my phone. I remember I was like painting this body up, and I'm looking for numbers. I'm like, well, there's 3 number 9s. Guess I'm number 9. I don't know. I didn't really have an idea. I wasn't when I raced. My dad would always like yell at me because he's like, every car you race has a different number. You don't stick with one number. And I'm like, all right. So when I got back into this, I'm like, whatever number this car is, I'm picking this number, and this is what I'm going with here. So I put the number 9 on it, and I started off the night terrible. Like I sucked. The car was god awful, and you know I had some guys help me out. And the car got progressively better and better and better, and I think I ended up second. I want to say the car was pretty solid. So I just stuck with number 9 from there, and it's brought me a lot of luck. So I don't know. That's just kind of where my number started. A lot of people like to pick their birth year. So, I mean, I wasn't going to be 95. So I'll just go with number 9. Because always a lot of people ask me, were you a big Casey Kane fan? I'm like, no, Junior was my NASCAR guy back in the day.
Cool. Well, like I said, that's going to be something that I ask everybody, and I'm bummed out that I haven't asked everybody up until this point. But as the podcast grows and develops, we'll have things like that. So you're the first one. So congratulations. You're the first guy to tell us why and where your number came from. So, okay. So the 3 questions we ask every guest: what is one tech tip or piece of knowledge that every racer should know?
Tech tip or knowledge? Um, hmm. I don't know. I'm kind of weird about this. And some people are like, Zach, I can't drive your cars because of this, but it helps me out personally. I like to trim my car a little bit to the right. And here's why. So obviously, if you're coming off the corner and the car's loose, what are you gonna do? Turn your wheels to the right. So if I have a car, it's actually funny. Mike Murphy was like joking me about this, like, "Oh, my car's got the Zach Goken going on right now. The wheels are turning to the right." And he's like, it does work sometimes. Anyway, I turn my car to the right a little bit, so I'm kind of like turning left just like a little bit. It's good and it's bad. Sometimes I screw with that a lot on the track, and probably something I should not get away from, but it's helped me more often than not. Like if my car is just a little bit loose off the track, I'll bump 6 more clicks of right trim in it or something because the car will track right. Because if it's getting loose, it's gonna shit. Like it's like kind of dog walking a little bit. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's helped me a lot. And I know people like I've drove Jared Howard's cars, and he's the opposite. His cars are trimmed to the left, and I'm like, how does this work? This is like opposite of what I'm used to. It gave me like 10 laps. I would get kind of accustomed to my car, but yeah, it's a little tech tip.
Cool. Yeah, and I feel like I'm not far from a pro, but for lack of a better term, pro tip, an amateur tip from my perspective. One thing that I used to do is I always set my trim for the car. I would always set it just down, put it on the floor, and roll it across, just kind of as slow at power
Oh,
as
yeah.
I could. Do not do that. Set your trim at speed because there is a big difference, and I learned that the hard way, and I didn't even know what I was doing wrong until I finally did it.
I was at a race one time and I forget who it was, but I saw them just like in like before like the race started. I just saw them. They like let go of their steering wheel to see where the car tracked, and they would just adjust it on the fly on the track. See, I do that now. What track I'm on, I adjust it because like maybe at PTs I'll run more right trim, and then at BB mods I'd run left, or Cedar Bluff more. It just whatever. I'll tune it to whatever it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or if it's higher by it, I go the other way. I take right trim out. I go back to 0.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Question number 2. One RC race every racer should attend.
One RC race. Four. I don't want to promote myself too much. I mean, I said it. I mean, I think the Rumble at the Four Rocks is becoming a great race, but I think every racer should attend. Probably the Chili Bowl. Honestly, I think it's a cool event. Um, you don't have to be a pro to go there. But I would go there with a little experience. It's a cool event. It's something that you got to do at least once. I think every racer should do it at least one time.
Yep, absolutely.
I haven't went there in 6 years. I've kicked it around going back and forth, but I don't know. Maybe one day we'll see what's in the cards.
Yeah, I plan hopefully next year or coming years. I definitely want to get down there and I also want to experience Motorama at some point. I've heard both of those places are pretty badass.
Yeah, I've been to Motorama twice, and that's a lot of fun too. I didn't get signed up in time, so I wasn't able to go. but that's a fun event. And the drive kind of sucks if you live in Central Illinois. But yeah, no, it's fun.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and then last one, give me 3 people who you think should be the next guests on the podcast.
3 people. Hmm. Okay. Uh, First person. That doesn't really even matter, I guess. There's a lot of people. I think you could put Cole on here. They'd be an interesting guy to talk to. I would say, I'm trying to think of people that have been around a long time that are still doing it, that are like to talk. I would like to hear from this guy, and this might be a little. He's kind of an up and comer, rubber tired. He's won some big races. Anthony Danta. I don't know Anthony super well, but I like him as a guy because I can tell he's got competitiveness in his heart, and he's a foam tire guy, and he's getting his feet wet with this rubber tire stuff, and he wants to win. So I think it'd be interesting seeing his story of things. Um, Number 3. Uh, hmm, I don't know. There's a lot of racers out there. That's the thing. Um, I'll throw Mike Murphy out there. He's been racing a long time. Mike's a great guy to race with. He's been doing it probably longer than I have, and he's been through all the rule changes and tire changes like I have. So he'd be interesting to listen to as well.
Awesome. Well, cool. Yeah, we'll reach out to those guys and try to get them on here. I know I'll reach out to Anthony, and I try to get, like I said, Mike is tentatively scheduled around his busy schedule and his life. So yeah, we'll try to get all those guys on, and then before I let you go, plug Cedar Bluff and some of the races you guys got coming up this summer, and then we'll get you out here.
All right. Thanks, Sam.
But no, so do you have some of your big races?
Oh, sorry. Our big races. So we have we're putting our club races out here pretty soon. We just put our big events out, but our first big race of the year is June 6th, which is the Cedar Bluff Shootout. But I would say the majority of the Dirt Oval crowd has their eyes on the upcoming WIT series. Should be a great series. Tri-State Shootout, I believe is what it's called. We are the first race in the league. That is June 20th. I believe I want to say. And then you can't forget about our big first marquee race, Battle of the Bluff. I think that's our fifth year we've ran Battle of the Bluff. And that was our first ever big race. Like that is our headliner kind of for the season. The shootout's also a really big one. They both draw out great crowds. Usually we give out some great raffle items from our sponsors. Thank you to everybody that's helped out Cedar Bluff or the Rumble at the Four Rocks races. You guys know who you are. Thank you very much for all the help and support. So
awesome. And then one last thing that I've fallen short on before we get you out here, talk about the hobby shop, because that's one thing that we didn't get the chance to talk about. We got to talk about that.
So, basically, I kind of started off as just like a small little hobby shop thing. My dad has he was the guy for like a long time. Like he would order this and that, and it's nice when you go to a racetrack and you have parts on site because so many times people are like, man, I broke this or I broke that, I don't have this. And I remember just going to like when I was a kid, there again, go back to the atmosphere is what I was kind of talking about. When I went to Allen's, they had a great hobby shop down there. Like, dude, it was like a showroom in there, like it was really really cool. We Big Bills. He had a nice little hobby shop inside. It's just kind of cool. It's like, oh man, here's the parts, here's the kits, here's this, here's that. It's really, really cool. It's kind of something just to admire in itself, all the merchandise and all that. No, I mean, I know Sam, we've talked about a website and things like that, but eventually there will be a website for the hobby shop and whatnot. But I plan on making that kind of my livelihood, and I'm just gonna see where it goes. I'm kind of in this transitional spot in my life and my career, so that's just kind of where I'm at with it all. You know, I mean, obviously, like I didn't think. I mean, I don't know. I'm not ashamed to say I got laid off. It happened to 500 people besides me too. You know, my whole team got rid of in late October. I don't know. When life gives you opportunities, try to run with it. And, we've done a great job. I know a lot of local racers have came out here and supported us. Last week, you know, it took a lot of like you know like legal stuff, so to speak, like getting like bank stuff set up and the taxes and the list goes on. I don't even bore anybody with all that good jargon, but now we're like 100% legit. I'm like, like let's see what we can do with this.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we will once the website is out and available and everything, we'll make sure on the Scale Lab side of things we promote you guys and
Yeah.
try to send as many people your way as we can. So because you guys will be shipping and everything as well, right? So
Oh
you'll
yeah, yeah.
be a
I've been
full
shipping. Yep.
online hobby shop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
cool. And you're doing
That's
that now, even without a website. Somebody can reach out to you and you'll sell
Yep.
them
Like
product.
currently, if anybody needs, I mean, I know it's kind of loose, but I try to post at least a couple posts a week. Like we do have some car kits available, custom works and GFRP, low C sprints, tons of tires, parts, bodies. I've actually shipped out something today for a customer. Actually, just got done building a brand new 2024 Assailant for a customer. Yeah. So there you go.
Awesome. Yeah,
It's going well so far.
cool. All right, Zach. I appreciate you, man.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks.
We appreciate it, and we will. Everybody, we will see you guys in the next episode. And then if you guys have anything for Zach, make sure you guys reach out to him on the Cedar Bluff page, and he'll get you taken care of. So
All
again,
right.
thank you, Zach. Thank you for everything you've done for the hobby. Thank you for everything you've done with the Rumble and for all of us racers from the bottom of my heart. On for everybody else, we appreciate you, and I'm sure I will. I'll be seeing you at PTs this weekend, I would assume.
All right. Sounds good there.
Cool, man. Thanks, Zach. All right,
All right.
everybody.
Yep. Thanks, man.
See ya.
See ya.